Hey there, welcome to The Hot Slice, the weekly podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I'm your host, Jeremy White, editor-in-chief of Pizza Today, joined today, as always, by my wonderful and charming executive editor, Denise Greer. Hey, Denise.
Charming this time. Hello. It's sunshiny day, so I'm happy.
It is a sunshiny day. I'm happy as well, and I'm really happy about our guest today. John Arena is one of the cherished treasures in our industry. He is a bright, shining light, full of intelligence, optimism, know-how, just an all-around great guy who really understands how to make killer pizza. And so he's always fun to talk to.
Yeah, and I love it because, he is the person that at Expo, people are like chasing him down the aisles to try to talk to him and kind of pick his brain. So I love that we get to sit down with him and pick his brain just with us and, no distractions. And we get to just kind of learn all about what he has to say. So it was pretty awesome.
He's got a great story. He grew up on the East Coast, was part of a pizza family. His father and uncles owned a pizzeria in New York, if I'm not mistaken. He went west. Go west, young man. He went to Las Vegas in 1980, right as Vegas was about to boom, and he was in early. And I'll let him tell the story when we bring him on, but he experiments with his pizza dough, and he doesn't just stick to a tried and true formula for the ages. He is always playing and experimenting in an effort to get better. And that's really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's just jump right into it because it's such a great conversation.
Yeah, let's get him on.
John, we've got you on the line, and you are just one of the most sought after guys in the industry. Like, people chase you down to, get your knowledge. The first thing I want to ask is, what are the most common questions that you get from other operators or potential operators that you constantly, have a response for?
Typically, naturally, the most common questions are obsessions about dough, because that's the great passion and quest of everybody in the pizza business. But other than specific questions about different types of dough and fermentation and different methods and ingredients, I get a lot of questions from what I call semi-pros or aspiring professionals about how to make that transition from being a backyard pizza maker or a family or a home pizza maker into the world of professional pizza making, which is quite different. There's a big difference between making pizzas with no time constraints for your next door neighbors and your kids and making pizzas professionally day after day after day. And it's emotional and physical as well. Being able to stand there for hours at a time, cranking out pizzas at full speed and then getting back up the next morning and doing it again and again and again, world without end, amen.
Yeah, John, like you said, to make 12 pizzas poolside for your friends versus 225 pizzas on a busy night that are all consistent and look and taste somewhat the same. What is the big difference? How do you achieve that consistency that you have to have in a commercial setting?
Of course it's practice, but but more than that, it's mindful practice and organization and understanding that there are time requirements that affect what your process is. And it's really about, of course, all cooking is about mise en place, having everything in place and ready to go, and having as many dress rehearsals as possible. Chris Decker and I, we work together every day for the last 25 years, and we have a saying, never do anything for the first time for the first time.
I love it.
I like that.
And some people, they get into making pizzas professionally, and they basically unlock the doors, and they've never done any dress rehearsals.
Right.
So they don't, they're completely unprepared for the pressures and weakness, and it exposes a lot. So the weaknesses that real commercial pressure puts on you, and also the expectation level of somebody who's buying a pizza versus the expectation of somebody who came to your house to have a party and eating a pizza are completely different. And I think that happens a lot. You see that with food trucks. where a person transitions from a food truck, that they get great feedback from their customers at their food truck, and then they transition to a bricks and mortar, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
they're in a different world, and they're saying, well, I'm making the same pizza, how come it's not resonating? Well, in a bricks and mortar, the expectation level is a lot different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The level of service has to be stepped up. The expectation of the quality of the product has to be stepped up. Of people eating pizza out in the sun in a parking lot and talking to their friends is a lot different. It's a lot different environment than being in a pizzeria where you really have to be at the top of your game every pie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
No
add on
doubt.
to go and delivery on top of that, and delivering a quality product that's going to sit around for several minutes before people consume it.
Right, and that's a whole other world also, and you even see that, especially with the response to the pandemic. You see guys that had never done takeout, had never pushed delivery, and they had to make this pivot on the fly, and some of them struggled with it at first. But in the end, the people that are really dedicated, they're gonna, if they were great in one environment, they're gonna be great in another environment. They're gonna learn how pretty quickly.
Good point. John, when did you first begin experimenting with blending flours and different dough techniques? A lot of people find a formula that works for them and they achieve some consistency, and then they want to make no changes ever. When did you take that leap of saying, okay, I've got a good consistent product that I'm happy with, but now I'm just going to experiment and play and fail and tinker? What made you take that step?
It's really a simple answer. My dad made me take that step, because my dad and his brothers were partners in a pizzeria in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and they were kind of always butting heads because my uncles were of the mindset, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and my
Sure.
dad has always been of the mindset, if it ain't broke, break it and make it better.
I like that. Break it, make it better.
So when we moved out to Las Vegas, when my cousin and I moved to Las Vegas in 1980, we were away from the rest of my family, and my dad's influence started to come out more. And then my dad moved out a year later, and was constantly pressing us to improve, go out and learn, travel, do all the things that today are commonplace for most operators, most successful operators, but were kind of rare 40 years ago, where pizza makers kind of stayed in their lane. They never ventured out and tried to make things better, or tried to learn things from another discipline. But my dad always has this mind, and he's 92 years old, and he'll call me within the next 20 minutes and have some new idea. I guarantee it. Every morning he gives me that call and says, like, what are we doing today? So what are we doing different? How are we making it better? What are we learning from yesterday? So I think, it's important to have that, to have what in Zen philosophy is called the beginner's mind.
Yeah.
That every day you're a beginner. And that's why I kind of been on a tear lately about pizza makers who tell me after 10 years or so, well, this is getting old. How does it get old? If you approach it as if every day is a new opportunity, every time you touch a dough ball, a new opportunity to do something wonderful, and to learn from what you did up to that exact moment when you take that dough out of that tray and start to extend it. If you have that mind that today is different than yesterday, and there's something to be learned from every experience, and you bring what you've learned up to that moment to what you're doing, and translate that into the food, it never gets old. You never get tired of it.
Denise, I love the humility, and more than that, the inquisitiveness, the curiosity, I've done this for a long time and I'm good at what I do, but I want to get better and I want to learn something new. I want each day to be unique challenge. I love that. I don't think enough people in this industry have that.
It's that thirst to be a lifelong learner, right?
You get that. I mean, look at some of the people that are having influence right now that are relative beginners, in a sense. Guys like Derek Sanchez, Derek Tung, guys that are always learning, always trying to improve, and bringing a different perspective because of their backgrounds and because of their own particular vision. So you get a guy like Derek who hasn't been making pizzas for that long, but look at the impact that guy has had.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then you get other people that are, I just got off the phone with Brian Spangler, still always trying to improve, always trying to tweak. And this guy is one of the best pizza makers I know.
Mm-hmm.
He's always trying to make it better.
Yeah.
You know, and the really great ones have that in common. And the really great ones, you know, Tony Gemignani, he sweats every pizza as if it's for his first day in business. You watch him in his restaurant.
He does.
And watch, he agonizes over every single detail every time. He's not walking around, you know, the best in the business, and he's not walking around saying this gets old.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide. Figuring out how to do delivery right can be a daunting task, especially when it comes to third-party platforms, in-house delivery, contactless solutions, and POS functionality. Fortunately, the innovators at PDQ have developed the Delivery Toolkit app, a convenient single source that can measurably enhance all aspects of delivery while saving time, effort, and costs. Rooted in metrics, the multi-integrated PDQ Delivery Toolkit is a must-have resource for your store. Learn why at pdqdt.com or call 877-968-6430. That's 877-968-6430.
If you watched the Last Dance on ESPN by chance, the documentary about Michael Jordan and what led to his greatness, and it was how driven he is, how he took everything personal. Everything was an affront to his greatness. Everything was a challenge to how good he was, and he took it personally, and he was going to be better than you at all costs. And that's the mentality it takes to achieve greatness. And just like you said, I see it in all those individuals that you named. I'm going to get better. I'm going to climb the mountain every day to be better than yesterday. And that's a great way to operate, John. I love that you still have the passion for pizza all these years later.
I'll tell you a little anecdote. I was with Scott Wiener at Tony's place in San Francisco once, and Scott had been eating all day and just wasn't hungry anymore. And he ate some of Tony's pizza and didn't finish it. And Tony, you could see he was losing his mind. And he called me afterwards and he was like, "What happened? What was wrong with my pizza?" And I thought to myself, this is what makes this guy who he is. This is what makes him the best pizza maker in the country. Because
that's fantastic.
He's still that worried. He's still hungry for perfection. Yeah. As great as he is all those accolades, and he's still watching every dish to see if there's a half a pizza crust left on it, and then launching an investigation to find out why.
Yeah. So I'm curious right now, you know, as you're looking at, you know, what you're thinking about, you know, what's on your mind right now as far as growing and learning and those things that you're tinkering with, you know, what are you up to right now?
Right now we're developing another pizza concept that was inspired by work that I did with a chef, who's now a pizza maker in Chicago. His name is Noah Sandoval, and he created a pizzeria called Pizza Friendly Pizza.
Yeah,
which is basically right now in this incarnation, it's basically a window in an alleyway, and he's had tremendous success doing Sicilian pizza by the slice, with a real artisanal. And he's a Michelin star chef, so he put that perspective into it. So I'm fascinated by how far we can take that idea. Because I don't think and dine-in's not going away, of course, but the dine-in segment of our industry, I think it's going to be a while before that becomes a growth segment again. So I'm focusing on how do I create the greatest takeout or walk-up experience that I can possibly create. So I'm working on a project that will be in California that will be basically a walk-up, outdoor seating only kind of environment that takes advantage of the climate, and you know, how do we deliver the best possible product and a great experience? And I think every operator should be thinking now about how do I create an experience that's in line with what my dine-in experience was, but in a takeout format.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's the challenge right now. That's the key. If you can pull that off right now, you're in good shape.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think you have to look at it like these lifestyle variants that we saw in the past year and a half are permanent because they were
Mhm.
coming anyway.
Yeah.
So, so you can either pretend that, bury your head in the sand and pretend they're going to go away, or you can look at it and say, here's some opportunity. How do I create a great experience and control as many of the elements as I can, whether it's packaging, service style, presentation, all of the, everything that you can have control over, you want.
Mhm.
So I think that's going to be the challenge for operators, and you can see the improvements already. People
Yeah.
that are using products like Perfect Crust liners and some of the
Mhm.
other products that are out there. I think you're going to see huge improvements in pizza boxes, in pizza transport equipment,
Yeah.
because that's not going away. People got used to the idea of staying in their house and the convenience of
Mhm.
ordering online. So I think you're going to see tremendous advances in exciting and user-friendly software. You're going to see a combination of artisanal product and completely modern service developments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what's the cliche, the old saying go? I'm gonna get it wrong. Something to the effect of necessity is the mother of invention, or something like that. But basically, what's going to happen here is innovation is going to occur out of sheer necessity right now.
Mhm.
Right, and it's so important to not be in denial about that.
Yeah.
We had these wonderful artisanal pizza makers, people like Roberto Caparuccio, Chris Bianco, Jonathan Goldsmith, who did not emphasize at one time takeout and delivery. And certainly they weren't embracing frozen pizzas or partially baked pizzas. No, I mean, you got a guy like Chris Bianco doing amazing stuff now with packaged pizza. And this is a guy that at one time he wouldn't even allow you to take your leftovers home.
Right.
He had no packaging in his store of any sort.
Yeah.
But he reevaluated, he adapted, and now he's creating magnificent pizzas that you can finish at home.
Yeah, that has been the one thing that has thrown me for the biggest loop, are the number of people who, just as you described, Chris Bianco and some others I know, who I never in a million years would have believed they would have ever used the word frozen in the first place, or packaged. And now they are shipping frozen pizzas or selling frozen pizzas in local grocery stores in some cases. Yeah. And it's an amazing change of business.
Or even somebody like Jonathan Goldsmith with putting a pizza master oven in Spaccanapoli. Did you ever think you were going to see anything but a wood oven in Spaccanapoli?
No, never.
A guy who has a family of oven builders from Naples come out with their tools to adjust his custom made oven is now cooking pizzas in a pizza master. Not exclusively, of course. He's still doing good pizza, but the fact that he would even entertain that is a tremendous shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, he's still making amazing pizzas. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it took this influence to change his focus.
Yeah. What kind of shifts and adaptations have you had to make within at Metro Pizza?
Well, the transition for us was fairly simple because we already had 30% of our sales was already takeout. So it was 30% takeout and 70% dine-in. And the shift was, of course, initially we were 100% takeout, which happened almost overnight. But it actually was much easier because when you're doing production and you don't have to make that call of, does this one go in a box, does this one go on a tray, is this one for delivery? They're all takeout. It was much easier for us to simplify and to go back to what our original model was, which was originally primarily takeout when we started, 100 million years ago. So, so for us, it was not that difficult. And what we did find was that the simplification of running a business that's strictly takeout has some advantages. As long as you can produce a good product and package it correctly and stay organized, you have a lot more control over the product and over the flow of the business. So we went, right now we're at about 20% dine-in, 80% takeout. But what's happened is our sales are almost identical to what they were pre-pandemic, but our
Wow.
payroll is significantly lower.
Yeah. Wow.
Denise, we've heard that 1,000 times in the
Yeah.
last few months, haven't we?
Oh man, it's definitely kind of a theme. And I know that I've heard operators kind of apologize for it. And I'm like, well, you're doing well. This is the attribute of your business that you're able to shift and maneuver and do well. You can't, don't apologize for trying to excel and make your business better. Have you seen that a little bit, John?
I think that some of us that are doing okay, or we're uncomfortable because we know that so
Yeah.
many of our colleagues are struggling. Not
Yeah.
necessarily pizzerias that are struggling, but our restaurant colleagues in other segments of
Yeah.
the food service industry.
Yeah.
We certainly don't want to gloat about it.
Yeah.
But if you feel that way, and you should be thankful for the fact that you're in that position, but help the others.
Yeah.
Help the ones that are not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Vegas got hit hard. Your market.
And we're gonna be hit hard for some time. The
Yeah.
big setback for us, of course, we have an airport unit that's shut down
Mm-hmm.
because that terminal is not open right now, and
Yeah.
we have a unit coming up online in the convention center. So we were supposed to, we'll be ready for Expo. We're ready to open right now, but there are no conventions.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, we're excited to be able to eat your pizza again. I don't know, and people
Yes, we
probably
are.
don't know this, but the day before we open up the show floor, we sit down as a team of Expo staff, and we just scarf down on so much pizza, so much of your pizza.
Thank you. That's kind of become a tradition. My partner sets
Yeah.
that up with Bill, and we've always provided pizzas. We always look forward to it. We know it's probably the last unharried meal that you guys are going to get for several days. So,
Yes,
exactly.
Most years, Denise, we are watching the NCAA basketball tournament as we eat John's pizza, but obviously that will not be the case this year, as that tournament happens in March, and Pizza Expo obviously is not happening in March this year.
Yeah,
But it is
Hopefully
always a good time,
You'll
John.
be watching baseball, so that'll be cool.
That's my favorite sport, so I'm always happy to watch baseball.
Yeah, I'll be glad to watch baseball and eat all the pizza in the world. What's something you're looking forward to with Expo this year, John?
Of course, everybody is looking forward to being together again. That amazing gathering of the tribes and those happy collisions that take place in the aisles of the Expo. I think that's the thing that the operators are missing most. There's incredible educational opportunities and an opportunity to see new equipment and try new products. But more than anything, I think that this next Expo is going to be a love fest for the operators.
Absolutely.
And I think that, I'm hearing from people every day. It's like, is it going to happen? We're really going to do this? And everybody wants to be together again. So when it does happen, I think it's, there's going to be this tremendous outpouring and amped up appreciation of the fellowship of pizza making.
Absolutely.
That's really what it is. We don't want to make the mistake of calling it a brotherhood. It's a fellowship. There's so much diversity in the pizza industry now more than ever. And that's the most exciting thing that I've seen is pizza has led the way in being an example of what happens when you welcome everybody. Yeah,
I would agree.
Well said, John.
And Expo has been at the forefront of that. Expo has been the showcase of the diversity and adaptability of pizza.
I agree.
Very well said. I really appreciate your time today, John. I think that you probably need to take a call from your father to figure out what you need to do today to run your business a little bit better.
You got his daily punch list for me.
Oh, that's
good. Go figure out how to make the pizza better today.
I love it.
I'm really grateful for it. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, John, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.